This is WWE superstar Drew McIntyre, and you're listening to the WWE Podcast.
The champ is the one that everybody wants, me.
It's going to WrestleMania. Claymore!
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. This is my iron. You're going to acknowledge me.
All right, everybody, guys and girls, welcome back to another edition of the SmackDown Review right here on the WWE Podcast. As always, I am one of the hosts of this show, Michael Ritter. You can find me on Twitter at Michael5Ritter, and also one of the hosts of the Football Function Podcast, available on all of your podcasting platforms. Joining me on today's episode, my usual co-host, John Carrasco. You can find him on Twitter at Big Speaker, BIGG_speaker. John, how you doing?
I am doing pretty good, man. And once again, it's another good day up in here in Funky Town. And yeah, man, it's been a long week. Not enjoying this cold weather and everything like that. And definitely like all these leaves falling. So it's making us, I guess you could say make the week a lot harder for us at work and stuff like that. So yeah, it's been a tough one. Of course, we got to do another Saturday, so it's gonna suck.
Just your weekly update.
Yeah, but we are gonna pump this out for you and break down this good episode of SmackDown for y'all.
Yes, I'm looking forward to breaking down this episode that aired on November 18th. Shout out Drake, 2022, from Hartford, Connecticut. Pretty good episode of SmackDown, I gotta say. Just a lot of interesting things. There were a lot of moments during the show that, without a doubt, had my full attention. That I was just like, oh man, I'm into this, and we'll certainly touch on that. But shout outs. Is there any shout outs you got to give before we get rolling here?
Oh yeah, definitely want to give a shout out to Jeff from Abilene. I did hear your voicemail or email on the mailbag. And it's awesome to get that little feedback, So anybody that wants to do that, it's always welcomed over here in Funky Town. So, yeah, go ahead and whatever you want to say,
Shout out Jeff. Definitely kind words are always appreciated, and just knowing that obviously people are listening to these episodes, but the interaction is always what we do it for. So always good whenever we get a nice shout out on the mailbag. But back to this episode. Specifically, like I said, from Hartford, Connecticut. It started off with the Brawling Brutes and Drew McIntyre in the ring. They're basically just cutting a promo, and what I took from this was the purpose was to build the steam for Sami Zayn and Butch, to get you excited for that matchup and make you, I guess, look forward to it, and also to build the mystery as to who's going to be the fifth member for their War Games team. Like we said, Sami Zayn interrupted this bad boy. He comes out, he does his typical thing, and just tells Butch they don't have to wait for their match tonight. They can go down there and do it right now. That match ends up being pretty damn good. And like I said, we'll get to that a little bit later. But what were your main takeaways from this opening segment?
Well, at the very beginning of this, right away, Sheamus, had to double check to make sure that his mic was working. That was a little funny moment.
A little callback,
I guess you could say, from last week and everything. So that was pretty good. And then I guess you could say like the mutual respect thing. Whenever he was talking to Drew McIntyre, about being his best man and everything like that, I felt like that was kind of like
they talked about their 20-year rivalry, and
I kind of felt like it was what would you say, like spread out throughout the show, even with other wrestlers, So that was kind of cool to kind of see that, I guess you could say. But I don't know if it was intentional or anything, but something that I kind of just picked up on myself. But that was a good thing. And also, man, I would say like that My Dogs from Sami Zayn is starting to like hook with me, I guess you could say. Just the way he says it and everything like that. So yeah, he's definitely like the person that put this whole thing over for me, I guess you could say.
Yeah, definitely. Sami Zayn always adds some pretty good stuff to any segment he's involved in.
And I was going to say another thing was that, like how he was giving all his nicknames and stuff like that. The first one that he said was that Master Strategist. And that one kind of, like everything being involved with like the bloodline and stuff like that. Maybe, what if just maybe Sami is doing this?
This is all part of some master strategy.
Just because he made that one the first. I mean, of course, it's been with him for the longest, I guess you could say. But out of all the other ones that he could have used in front of that, that's the first one that he used, and it kind of just popped out to me.
No, I completely agree that it is a little bit of connecting dots there. You never know. There could be a little bit more to it, especially with Triple H pulling the strings backstage. You know they love the slow burn and seeds being planted, so you never want to just completely, I guess, rule out something like that. So
Right.
Good thing that you caught it.
And I was going to say, the one that threw me off was the Uzi in the sky with diamonds.
Yeah.
I was like, what is that?
Are you
mean?
familiar with that?
I'm not, yeah. So
Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds,
Okay.
LSD.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
I got you. So I was kind of just like, what did he mean by that? But I mean,
It's just a famous song from back in the day.
Pointing that out to me, but yeah.
Yeah, Sami Zayn making an old school Elton John reference there. But continuing on here, we get the first match of the night, which is Mustafa Ali versus Ricochet for a SmackDown World Cup semifinals match or quarterfinals. Yeah, I think it is quarterfinals, and then they advance to semifinals next week, or the winner of this advances. This is Pakistan versus America, United States of America. And first things first, Ricochet tried to, I guess, advise Ali to not wrestle. He didn't have to do it because of the rib injuries that he suffered on Monday Night Raw with Bobby Lashley. So he tried to get him to not do it, but Ali wasn't hearing that. He said, no, dude, I'll see you out there. We're going to put on a good show, all that good stuff. They do end up having a pretty damn good match. Just going back and forth, these two dudes have wrestled a lot, so the chemistry is without a doubt there. But Ricochet, he hits a beautiful shooting star press here. Probably one of the best that I've seen since, I don't even know, man. I'm trying to think of the Billy Kidman, someone who is very, very much, I guess, known for his shooting star press and perfecting it. And he's one of the best to ever do it. But seeing Ricochet hit it successfully on somebody who wasn't even laying down flat on the mat, who was standing up, beautiful stuff. Like, this was something that I'm so glad they showed a replay for, because, with the way that we were watching, I wasn't trying to rewind anything. So the fact that they showed a replay gave us another look at that. I really appreciated it. But Ricochet does advance to the semifinals, where he has to meet the monster of all monsters, Braun Strowman. We'll get to that match a little bit, obviously next week whenever it happens. But as far as this match goes, Ricochet defeating Ali, what were your thoughts?
Well, just, of course, like that shooting stars press was nice. But the other move that pointed out to me was that backstabber from...
There were so many. On the outside of the ring, there was that one. There was just so many different moves in this match. They definitely, brought their A game. And that's not even counting like the botched 450 or whatever, where he hit his face on the mat. Dude, there were several spots.
But yeah, they definitely put on a show. I wasn't mad about this at all. I do like that they kind of made that I guess you could say that flippity-floppity quote that Braun Strowman
that
just
tweet,
just push off to the side, because they, like you said, they definitely put on a good show. I didn't like that Ricochet. He did like go into that match like with the concern, I guess you could say. It kind of felt like he was kind of like holding himself back. And
maybe going to take it easy on him.
Yeah, in certain situations. But then again, like you said, man, they put on an awesome show, and I was all for this one right here.
Yeah, I enjoyed this match. Like I said, it's one that just on paper, you see these two dudes, that they're both going to bring their A game, and Ricochet getting the win does make sense in my personal opinion.
I also don't like that Mustafa. He's not getting any like pop or anything like that. It seems like he definitely like puts in the work and like works on his craft, But like at the end, Ricochet was like carrying him, and he was throwing his hands up to get some crowd going and stuff. I just feel like he deserves it a little bit more.
Yeah, I think that's all character related. The fans see through it. They're just they're not invested. They don't feel connected to what he's got going on right now. So I just feel like there's reasons for why they're not, getting loud or anything like that. Because Ricochet really doesn't get a whole lot of pops either. That's the thing. So him trying to tell someone to, give a little bit of his shine.
Yeah. I do feel like Mustafa, he's been doing at least a lot better than what he was before. Because I've known him for like being like just being pushed back to the side, I guess you could say. But the match with Bobby Lashley on Raw, and then that little promo that they had where Bobby Lashley threw him to the back of that was funny to me, So that definitely like made me at least like start paying attention to him in a different way.
Yeah, and I was actually pretty high on Ali just a few years ago, even probably before the pandemic happened. I was real high on, I guess, his potential and what he could be. But continuing on here, we get a backstage segment with the New Day, they have an encounter with Imperium. At first, it's a little bit like a heartfelt promo where they're talking about losing to the Usos and how they want to get another opportunity and kind of fight back. And then Imperium walks up and basically just slaps them in the face, not literally, but figuratively, by saying what they've done over the past few years, their legacy, so to speak, has ruined the image of their greatest sport and that mat that's so sacred. So they basically are saying, like, what you guys have been doing with your dances and your pancakes and the trombone has been making the tag team division look terrible, and they're here to restore credibility into the tag team division. It does set up what we get later on, because it was 3-on-2 right there, and it sets up a 6-man tag match where they say, all right, well, we'll settle this in the ring since we can't, settle it with our words. You guys meet us out there, we'll find a tag team partner, and we do get that match a little bit later on in the night. But do you got anything on this?
Oh, the only thing I can say is I was not digging Xavier Woods' little stash.
His little mustache,
his little
I
shave
know.
and everything like that. I mean, I don't know if everybody trimmed their hair or something today or for this show, or I don't know. But yeah, I definitely noticed all the haircuts and stuff like that. It was kind of crazy, but yeah, definitely wasn't high on that.
During the actual match, I noticed that Xavier Woods was really pushing that mustache out. Like, he was doing certain movements with his lips to really exaggerate the mustache. And, that's what you do sometimes. You notice, if somebody gets a new tattoo, all of a sudden their selfie pose is switched up to feature their tattue in there. I've noticed that so many times, but
I think if he would have made it full rather than coming down to a point at the end of his lips, I think it would have been better. We'll
see if he adjusts that over the coming weeks. But let's see, we get Cross versus Moss. Karrion Kross versus Madcap Moss here. A little bit of a revenge match. This stems from him getting choked out, I guess, the cross jacket.
Mm-hmm.
So he has a little bit of a pre-match pep talk with Emma. Doesn't really matter, though. He goes out to the ring and he gets choked out again by Karrion Kross. A little bit of an interference by Scarlett, but I was expecting maybe Emma to run out there, kind of start something there, intergender mixed tag, something like that. Maybe not tonight, but at least plant the seed to get some type of feud going. But she doesn't come out until the end. Yeah. Whenever he's already getting the hell beat out of him, and he's already choked out, pretty much unconscious, and there's already trainers out there. Then she wants to finally go, but that's the only thing that kind of maybe raised my eyebrow to this is she's already had in-ring matches and she's already established herself as a wrestler. She's coming back to wrestle, so why wouldn't you go out there and give yourself a little bit of publicity, spotlight, whatever, in an actual match where Scarlett just slapped your boyfriend in the face? I don't know. That kind of just didn't add up to me. But other than that, I didn't have a problem with this.
Oh, yeah. This one was, I guess you could say, the revenge match for Madcap. Of course, it didn't go as planned, but I did expect Emma to come out whenever Scarlett slapped Madcap in his face. That's the only thing that I was kind of expecting, but
WWE hit their quota for slaps today.
That's for sure. I ain't even going to talk about the next two, but yeah, but I thought Emma, man, she should have been involved in this a lot earlier. I guess it's okay that we kind of get the slow burn for it, kind of help build her presence, I guess, better pop, I guess you could say. But I do think that it's ultimately going to go down the road for these two couples to finally have a match and maybe settle their differences, because I don't think Karrion Kross is looking past Madcap at this point.
Absolutely. Now, we were talking about slaps. It's time to continue on with the theme of slaps. But this segment was started off and it was advertised as, quote-unquote, Bray Wyatt makes amends. That's what we were told that this is going to be. And for once, or at least since he's been back, I was able to kind of track the promo style and what he was actually saying, what he was getting at, what he was referencing. I was on the same page with him the whole time. He was just basically trying to apologize, and he felt like he needed to apologize to LA Knight for doing what he did. And I felt like he was about to elaborate more on it. He was about to kind of maybe give us a peek behind the curtain as to why he's doing that. And LA Knight's music hits. He comes out. And he says basically, if you're trying to apologize to me, this and that. He goes to the ring. He puts his hand out there. You think he's going to shake his hand, and he slaps him right in the face. And he says, all right, we're even. We're even now. You go about your life. I go about my life. It is what it is. We go our separate ways. Sorry. And Bray Wyatt walks to the ropes, and he tries to stick his hand out again. He says, okay, we're even. This is whatever it is. And sure enough, LA Knight hits him one more, the 2-for-1 special, as he referred to it as. He gives him another slap right across the face. That's 2 right there, and he makes a run for it. Bray Wyatt sits there and just, stares into, I don't even know, just staring off into space, essentially, and eyes wide open. This was an interesting segment here, and it really gets you, like, just from 2 weeks. Like, before last week, LA Knight and Bray Wyatt, there was no connection. We had no idea that these two guys, their paths were going to cross. And now I'm into it. I'm like, okay, let's do this. Like, both guys are capable on the mic. They're capable of telling stories in the ring as well. This is a hell of a recipe right here for a damn good program, and I'm all for it. I feel like this week really did kind of speed things up a bit. Like, we had the cheap shot last week. You don't see stuff like that. It's not the typical just like someone's given a backstage interview and they go up and they have a little bit of words. They just exchange words and they walk away. And then eventually we see them encounter this kind of right away. Bam. It went from 0 to 40, you could say. And then it went from 40 to 80 just from 1 week's time. Now he put his hands on Bray Wyatt, I guess, in retaliation. And I like where this is headed.
Oh, yeah, man. I definitely applaud LA Knight for standing up to Bray Wyatt. I mean, just because to me, it's just portrayed as like Bray Wyatt's not somebody that you want to mess with right now. He seems like he's going through a lot. He doesn't know which side he wants to be on. So it's definitely he's definitely like one of the people you kind of like push off to the side, leave him alone, let him do his own thing for a minute. But like I said, I do applaud LA Knight for doing that. And once again, it was like one of those respect things, like he came up, he said about the fear in his eyes or something. I can't say that I can quote it, but this felt like another respect thing, like how I was mentioning earlier. I did forget to mention it with Mustafa Ali and Ricochet, but I just felt like this has kind of gave us like a perspective, like, okay, these people, they notice each other and they see what they're capable of in the ring, and then what they can do long term, I guess you could say. So for this to be happening, it puts Bray Wyatt on my radar. Of course, LA Knight has been there for a sec, and I can't say that I'm mad at this, I guess you could say.
No, I completely agree with you. This is one of the things that I'm really excited about because, we talk about it all the time. This is SmackDown exclusive. Just both of these guys in this specific program. You're only going to get it on Friday nights. And I like storylines like that because, we get to talk about it.
Oh, yeah.
It just makes it a little bit more enjoyable for us here on the SmackDown review. But
It does. Just because it felt like at the beginning of the show, it felt like it was more like wrestling based. Like I was telling you, it felt like the first hour kind of seemed like it went by
slower, yes.
And then the second hour seemed like it was like they were giving so much for us to pay attention to that the time was going by like a lot
video
more faster.
Packages. And
yeah, so I felt like, it seems like they got the recipe on what they're needing to do to cook up right, so I'm all for it.
Yep. Good format. Let's see. Continuing on here. Up next, Shotzi versus Shayna Baszler. Shotzi was outnumbered here for basically the entire match. Ronda Rousey, getting involved here and there. She clearly had no shot of winning this one at first. And then Raquel Rodriguez comes out to basically aid and even the numbers out a little bit. That causes a distraction to Shayna Baszler. She gets rolled up. Shotzi gets the win. What are your thoughts?
I was just going to say, just touching on the Raquel thing, whatever she came out wearing today, man, or actually all the women, I'm going to just point off on that. They were all looking pretty good tonight. But on this one, I didn't really have too much to say about it. I felt like this was a pretty mediocre match, I guess you could say.
I didn't like that Shayna lost. I know that it wasn't like a clean loss. Like there was a distraction, there was a roll-up. They always rely on that, old reliable roll-up. But it's not the end of the world, but I feel like she had some momentum behind her, and I like the direction she was going. And a loss, even if it is a roll-up to Shotzi Blackheart, it has to damage her a little bit.
I would just say that they had to give Shotzi this win just to give, or at least put her over for us.
It does help her a little bit. I will say yes.
So, if she would have went into this match and lost this one, I would have felt like, just the way, the match was going itself, everything seems like it was kind of botched in a way, at least, half speed, kind of getting familiar with the movesets and everything. But if she would have lost this match, I don't think, or if Shotzi would have lost this match, I don't think that it would have made it convincing that she was going to at least
for
beat
Ronda. Yeah, so I was literally about to say that. I was going to say, so it's not a lose-lose because Shotzi winning does make her feel more credible. And if she is going to be the next challenger for Ronda Rousey, which she is, you want her to have some wins under her belt, one way or the other.
Momentum
yes.
Because
so, yeah.
Like I said, I just didn't feel like this was the best match that I've seen from her. So moving into that next step, I don't think that it would transition into a win for her.
Yeah, I completely see that side as well. So let's see, continuing on here, we're going to go back a little bit to the LA Knight situation because he tries to leave early. He tries to, kick rocks. Megan walks up to him, basically says, "Hey, LA, are you leaving because you just slapped Bray Wyatt? Like, you're trying to run away from him?" "No, are you kidding me, LA? Do you stay after your job when you're finished working?" "No, you get the hell out of there." He opens the door. What do you see? A mask. The mask that we've seen in multiple Bray Wyatt vignettes. And, man, that's good stuff right there. Just number one, in terms of a production standpoint, great stuff. You can clearly see it. The angle that they showed it in, he goes and he blocks a little bit. He goes back. It's gone. You love to see that. And then, obviously, he gets buried. LA Knight, that is. They eventually go find him. He has so many different things. He's laying flat on his stomach, and he just has 15 to 20 different objects stacked on top of him, and he's at the very, very bottom. Quick side note, this reminds me of something that I have done several times to various friends who have, spent the night at my house or something like that. They fall asleep early, free game. We have put, if they fall asleep on the couch just sitting there, we'll put like various different hats and sunglasses and all types of different stuff all on them, and we'll just keep like we have pictures of some of our friends who have fallen asleep, sleep extremely hard, and there is like skateboards and all types of different objects stacked on top of them, and they're just sitting there dead asleep, like somehow don't wake up. And pretty good pictures to say the least. But this is what it reminded me of. It's just because he tried to leave early. This is for the people who try to fall asleep early at a friend's gathering.
Yeah.
You get what you get. But anyways, that just, took me down memory lane, and I'm sure some listeners have done that in the past.
Oh, yeah. I can kind of say, like, if you ever fall asleep with your shoes on, yeah, you're definitely getting something from me, I guess you could say. That was one of my rules. But, yeah, the LA Knight, man, him trying to leave so fast, though, it was kind of like he was scared. And in a way, to me, just because he was like...
Such an old school heel move.
Yeah, but I was just like, man, I didn't pay attention to that, dude. I mean, of course we saw it, but even the other one with Bray Wyatt, whenever he was...
Whenever Karrion Kross had the interaction with the Usos.
Yeah.
And because they were on the search, are you the fifth member, blah, blah, blah. That segment wasn't about that. It was for the people who were looking further, and you see Bray Wyatt back there basically having an argument with himself, which was pointed out by somebody on Twitter. They kind of highlighted that, but still, that's what that segment was about right there.
See, for me, I kind of hate that I'm looking through that one scope, that one lens, I guess you could say, because whenever you do or notice stuff like that, you're kind of like, your brain just goes into like a whole another thinking of like what's happening rather than what's being focused on, I guess you could say. So him to be arguing with himself, I guess you can say, is kind of chaotic to me, psycho in a way. So I mean,
even Michael Cole said he's not in a good place right now. He is not stable. Was his exact words that he said.
Yeah, but I mean, it's all being put together in the right way, I guess you could say, and it's all giving me that little, I guess you could say, traction to turn the next page with this whole situation he got going on. So hey, man, whatever y'all can do to give us those little nuggets here and there, do it.
Yes, I can definitely co-sign on that. 2 more matches here to talk about. Let's go ahead and do the 6-man tag match first. We talked about it earlier. It was started by the backstage interaction with the New Day and Imperium, but the New Day needed another partner. And this is where you and I both, we looked at each other, we said, man, is this where we see Big E? Is this possible that he's going to be their partner? We got excited. We got our hopes up, but sure enough, it was not Big E. No surprise, I guess. They are going to save that return for a much bigger spot. Not a meaningless match that got thrown together out of nowhere. I think that you could make more of a return like that, especially given the seriousness of the injury and how many fans actually miss him. Fans that you might not have expected miss him. I know you miss him. Yeah, I mean,
I do. He
definitely added to the SmackDown roster, and I can't wait to get him back. I was hoping that this would be the night, but like I said, it was not him. Ends up being Braun Strowman. And he makes his presence felt in this match. You could tell he was the focal point. He was the star of this match that they were trying to give all the offense to and make him be the quote-unquote needle mover. the difference maker and ultimately the equalizer, because it was 3-on-2, and he does provide that size to match Gunther and just that physical presence that you need to win a match like this against a team like Imperium, and he does just that. The New Day actually win with their signature tag team finishing move. I don't know what it's called. What is that? Do you know what that one's called, where Kofi Kingston has him on his knee, Xavier Woods goes to the top rope? I know it has a name because they've said it. I just haven't written it down, and it's definitely on.
Dang, I want to say like midnight
something.
Yeah, midnight.
I don't know.
Dang.
There's definitely a listener right now saying you guys are a couple stooges. Come on, spit it out.
Put it in the Discord. We'll keep it down.
Exactly. But the key part of this is after they hit that move, Gunther had a very good opportunity to go break up this tag, and Braun Strowman basically chases him out. He runs away, hops in the ring, sees Braun Strowman, immediately runs, and that kind of builds up. It makes you want to see it. Like, damn, is Gunther afraid of Braun Strowman? Which obviously he's not, but they're trying to make you feel like there's a possibility that Braun Strowman could be a legitimate threat to somebody like Gunther. And it's coincidentally, Braun Strowman is in the semifinals for the World Cup for SmackDown, and if he wins that, he's going to get a one-on-one opportunity with Gunther. So you'd be, pretty excited, or at least I would, to see that matchup and, to see what would come from it. But what do you think about the New Day and Braun Strowman getting the win here on Imperium?
And I actually looked it up. It was the midnight hour, so that's what they got that dub with. I knew it had something to do with midnight for sure. I just didn't want to go into anything too extra, I guess you could say. But all I got to say, man, is the New Day, they're about it. It always seems like they're going at it before the bell rings and everything like that. So I can kind of say that New Day, they definitely got me on the hook just a little bit, I know you had mentioned Big E, and I think that's just the only person that they're missing to give them that star power to make them that great faction, So whenever he comes back, he's definitely going to be a valuable piece to that, Of course, he always has and everything, but I don't know why Gunther, man. I don't know why he was acting like he was scared. That's the only thing that kind of got me, And of course, I had mentioned to you earlier, I felt like Braun Strowman is going to be the winner coming out of this World Cup to be eventually matched with Gunther for the IC title. So for this to be happening, I don't understand. I just don't understand a champion being scared of anybody, I guess, in a way. I guess you're, monster of all monsters, but come on, man. You haven't given me anything to be behind you, I guess you could say. Being added in with the New Day kind of gave me some type of trend up, I guess, for you now. Because I always, I wouldn't say I always, but I have mentioned that I felt like New Day has always been like that performance enhancer for like the new people coming in. They always get the pop. So if you're involved with the New Day, you're going to get that cheer behind you as well. So that's how I kind of feel about it.
Yeah, completely off topic, but I keep looking at you wearing that shirt over there. He's wearing a red shirt with big white letters on it, and it reminds me of the Undertaker's Big Evil shirt that he used to wear back in the day. Are you familiar with the shirt?
No.
Okay, well, I pulled it up just to show you, and that's just kind of what I'm seeing. And I know that it's not the same.
It does look like
but yeah, I just there's this microphone stand right here that's blocking it, and I just can, out of my peripheral, I could just see the white letters, excuse me, on the bright red shirt. And those of you who know what Undertaker's Big Evil shirt looks like, and I just showed it to John, it's very easy just to, out of your peripheral to kind of see that. But
that is for sure.
I keep thinking that's what you're wearing.
Right whenever you flipped it over, I was like, okay, I see it already too.
Okay. So yeah, I just had to get that off my chest really quickly. But let's go ahead and get to the main event here. Butch versus Sami Zayn in a SmackDown World Cup. England versus Canada. Yeah, England versus Canada. Sami Zayn representing Canada. I'd love to see it. Hell breaks loose, as you would expect. Roman Reigns does, I will say. Commentary said multiple times he's on his way to SmackDown, which I will say, why the hell do they do this? Why the hell would you show up to, all right, say it's the main event. Mm-hmm. Why the hell would you show up if you weren't there for the first hour and 45 minutes?
Right.
Just one thing that's always bothered me when they say the champion or somebody is on their way to the arena as the main event is happening, just never really made sense. But anyways, like I said, all hell breaks loose during this match. Outside of the ring, you see things go crazy near the commentary table, just the World Cup trophy there standing right there, because all the Usos are out there, all the Brawling Brutes are out there. you just know whenever you have this collection of people in a wrestling area and there's a match going on where there was a lot of crap being talked to each other earlier in the day, you know that, most likely it's going to get a little bit out of the lines and things aren't going to go just exactly according to plan. But what were your thoughts on the actual match before we get to the ending?
Well, the match wasn't too interesting for me, I guess you could say. I thought Sami Zayn was going to win this just because the confidence that he had came out with at the beginning of the show. I was just like, man. But then again, Jay, I mean, he kind of put his little ones and twos in, saying that you can't just say that we're going to go in a straight win like that, I guess you could say. But
Sammy had a valid point. Like, you think we're going to lose?
I mean, I believe it. I mean, of course, anytime I go into like any type of sporting event, and I'm not thinking of losing. I'm thinking of, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to smack that.
All on the flow.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But other than that, man, I just kind of felt like, man, you can't put yourself in that position and then just go out there and embarrass yourself. I kind of felt whenever Roman went to like look over Sammy whenever he was just laying in the corner looking like he was all dead, that he was gonna maybe like address something right there, because it kind of looked like he was just disappointed, I guess you could say. But for this all to happen, I mean, I'm kind of happy that we're getting this War Games. You do get the double rings, so you're gonna get double the action, I guess you could say, outside or rather than outside of the ring. So I'm gonna be cool with that. But I don't know, man. Roman has too many enemies now. I kind of felt like he had almost 3 in the same match right there, I guess you could say. So I just feel like it's kind of like more focused around him. But then again, you can get a Sheamus versus Roman out of this. You can get a Solo versus Drew McIntyre out of this. And then you can get a Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens out of this. If it was to happen, dude. I mean, the way that they looked at each other whenever they were standing in the ring, it didn't seem like they wanted to hit each other. It's just like, it's just 2 walls, basically. That's the thing that they're going to, or both of these sides are going to have to get over to be over with this, I guess you could say. That's my high point on it.
Yeah, well, Butch does win this with a bitter end. Solo wastes no time after that, going into the ring and attacking Butch immediately and just pulling him off of him. And then the brawl ensues until Roman Reigns' music hits. He goes out there, basically wipes out the field, gets a good one-on-one visual with Sheamus. He kind of takes off his suspenders. They exchange punches. We get a Superman punch, almost a spear, until the 5th member is revealed. And you just said his name.
I know, sorry.
Kevin Owens. Yeah, we bury the lead around here. But anyways, Kevin Owens comes out. Him and Roman Reigns go back and forth. They exchange punches. He does hit a stunner, but we get the one-on-one little Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens looking at each other on opposite teams here at War Games. That alone is worth the price of admission. Mm-hmm. Just seeing those 2 guys and the story that they're going to tell. You love to see this. Like, that got me extremely excited for this. And, I just love to see it. Like, I love to see War Games featured in a main roster format with main roster wrestlers and at Survivor Series. Like, there's a lot of good stuff to be excited about right now if you're a wrestling fan, and assuming if you're listening to this podcast, you are a wrestling fan.
Oh, yeah, and I think it's kind of crazy, man, that some people can be, like, spot on with their predictions and stuff like that. I kind of, like, go into, like, my own, like, thoughts, but then again, I never want to talk about them because I feel like I'm a bozo, I guess you could say, kind of going off in my own little lane, but sometimes it does happen in the right way, and then sometimes I'm way off. So don't depend on me on predictions and stuff like that, people. Let me say that.
So really quickly, that is how SmackDown goes off the air. Is we get the the 5-on-5 look. We see the Kevin Owens, the Brawling Brutes, and Drew McIntyre standing there along the ropes, and on the ramp we get the Bloodline, just to kind of show you what exactly it's going to be. One thing I did notice, though, you sent it to me, that there was reports that we were going to get a Disney Channel diss track from Hit Row.
Oh, yeah.
On the Viking Raiders. I'm so glad they didn't air that or decided to pull it last minute. Whatever it was the right decision.
Yeah.
If I wanted to go watch Disney Channel, I'd go watch Boy Meets World, which is what I'm about to go do.
Man, I actually had totally forgot that I had sent you that, man. Like I said, I'm glad it didn't show. I mean, maybe they gave New Day a little extra time and stuff like that. So, yeah, definitely glad we kicked that out the door.
Yeah, I am not complaining there, especially given that, they probably replaced it with something good. Maybe like, LA Knight getting buried or something like that, So either way, it was a good decision. Now, next week on SmackDown, we get the semifinals, those matchups, to figure out exactly what the championship is going to be, who's going to win that SmackDown World Cup. So you can get excited about that, amongst other things, as it's likely the go-home show, right?
Yeah, but I forgot who was it. It's Sami or Ricochet versus
Ricochet
Braun.
versus Braun, Sami Zayn versus Santos Escobar.
Okay, I forgot
Mexico
that.
versus Canada, and then a United States matchup on the other side.
I feel like it might be Santos and Braun at the end of all this.
I'm trying to just, kind of think in my head. Mm-hmm. Wait, did we say Sammy and
No,
Santos? Butch. Okay, well, I said Sammy accidentally. I said Canada.
Okay, my bad.
Canada.
I know who you were talking about.
Yeah,
for sure.
I just was kind of playing in my head. I was like, wait, did I just kind of set myself up? But anyways, it's late. Not extremely late, but we recorded. This is the earliest that we've ever been done. It is 9:52 p.m. Central Standard Time. SmackDown went off the air at 9. So it's only been 52 minutes since SmackDown is off the air. We're sitting here at 36 minutes recording. That just tells you right there. You want to talk about one take. We don't even warm up. Like, we're ready to go. It's 36 minutes. We took a little bit of time, get some water, maybe go over our notes a little bit. But other than that, man, we dove in and swam some laps, and it's time to get out and dry off.
Oh, yeah, man. I'm definitely ready to shake off the water, I guess you could say. And, go into the bed, get a little comfy and stuff like that, man, because it's freaking cold out here today, y'all. But, man, I did enjoy it. It's always good to be here. Like I said, I want to give a shout out to the new Patreons. It's always cool to hear Matt announcing the new names and stuff like that whenever we're listening to the Mailbag, Raw Review, Weekend Review, whichever one you want to listen to. But yeah, it is definitely interesting to see that we're still growing, I guess you could say. People are still tagging along slowly but surely. But yeah, but definitely want to give a shout out to all the listeners and everything like that. Definitely want to give a shout out to you, Mike, Football Function and everything like that. You told me that you are pumping out about a good episode a day for the month and everything.
Man,
like that.
November of 2022,
not even content.
I don't like to toot my own horn. I don't like to brag or anything like that about the show because I understand it is a growing show. But I will say, just as a way to commend the team at Football Function, my co-host, the host of the College Football Function podcast, which is kind of a newer show, been busting our asses over there. And the 17th day of November, which is when we which is yesterday, that was whenever we dropped our 11th episode of November. So 11 episodes out of the 17 days, and pretty impressive from a podcasting standpoint. From a football podcasting standpoint, because it's not like a WWE podcast, for example, where there's multiple different shows and you have just these different possibilities. You can go from a mailbag episode to a nostalgia episode and just kind of flow those in there. I guess the available content that you're able to talk about is a lot more limited. So to get that many episodes out, man, I would be lying if I said I wasn't proud of the team over there. But I appreciate the shout out nonetheless.
Oh yeah.
If you are a football fan, definitely go check us out over there. College football, NFL football, we have you covered on all of the preview and predictions, insight and analysis, and obviously recapping all of the games that we preview. But on that note, I'm going to go ahead and sign off here. Shout out to all you listeners. If you are a first-time listener, thank you so much for stumbling onto this episode. You definitely are going to want to check out all the other ones here on the WWE podcast. The SmackDown review, one of the more, long, I guess, longer tenured shows here in terms of, this is our 109th episode here. So, numbers back it up. We are definitely here to stay, here for the long haul. We love you guys, so we ain't going nowhere. Shout out to Matt for keeping the lights on, keeping everything going behind the scenes and all that good stuff. Shout out to all you guys for calling in on the mailbag, all you regular listeners who make the show part of your weekly routine. We cannot thank you enough, and hopefully you will come back next week to see what we got to say about the Go Home show. But on that note, have a damn good weekend, walk passionately in the direction of your dreams, and I will talk to you soon.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.